Good evening. This is Facebook Love number 297. I wanted to read today some joyful things and talk about hopeful things, and everything went screwy. I'm not personally having a bad day, but my goodness, I'm without words about the shooting in Texas and all those children. I don't know what to say, and I don't think anything I say can help. This is when poems and songs and movement are solace. So I'm not even going to say much about what I think beyond the fact that life is bigger than this life, and this isn't all there is. I don't know if that's comforting, but it's what I believe. Anyway, I'm going to read two pieces today, one shorter and one longer, that are about death. This first one is by one of my favorite poets, Naomi Shihab. It's titled Making a Fist. For the first time on the road north of Tampico, I felt the life sliding out of me, a drum in the desert, harder and harder to hear. I was 7. I lay in the car watching palm trees swirl, a sickening pattern past the glass. My stomach was a melon, split wide open inside my skin. How do you know if you're going to die? I begged my mother. We had been traveling for days. With strange confidence, she answered, when you can no longer make a fist. Years later, I smile to think of that journey, the borders we must cross separately, stamped with our unanswerable woes. I who did not die, who am still living, still lying in the back seat, behind all my questions, clenching and opening one small hand. That poem is from a collection published in 1988 titled Grape Leaves, A Century of Arab American Poetry. This other one is by a poet I'm not as familiar with, named Linda Gregerson. It's titled An Arbor. The world's a world of trouble. Your mother must have told you that. Poison leaks into the basements and tedium into the schools. The oak is going the way of the elm in the upper Midwest. My cousin earns a living by taking the dead ones down. And Jason's alive yet, the fair-haired child, his metal crib next to my daughter's. Jason is 1, but last saw light 5 months ago and won't see light again. Leaf against leaf without malice or forethought, the manifold species of murmuring harm, no harm intended. There never is. The new inadequate software gets the reference librarian fired. The maintenance crew turns off power one weekend, and Monday the lab is a morgue, 54 rabbits and 17 months of research. Ignorance loves as ignorance does and always holds high office. Jason had the misfortune to suffer misfortune the 3rd of July. July's the month of hospital rotations. On holiday weekends, the venerable stay home. So when Jason lay blue and inert on the table and couldn't be made to breathe for 3¼ hours, the staff were too green to let him go. The household gods have abandoned us to the gods of jurisprudence and suburban sprawl. The curve of new tarmac, the municipal pool, The sky at work on the pock-marked river, fatuous sky, the park where idling cars, mere yards from the slide and the swing set, deal beautiful oblivion in nickel bags. The admitting room and its stately drive, possessed of the town's best view. And what's to become of the 3-year-old brother? When Jason was found face down near the dog dish, it takes just a cupful of water to drown. His brother stood still in the corner and said he was hungry and said that it wasn't his fault. No fault. The fault's in nature. Who will, without system or explanation, make permanent havoc of little mistakes? A natural mistake. The transient ill will we define as the normal and trust to be inconsequent, by nature's own abundance soon absorbed. Oak wilt, it's called, the new disease. Like any such contagion, hypocrisy in the conference room, flattery in the halls, it works its mischief mostly unremarked. The men on the links haven't noticed yet. Their form is good, their par. The woman who's prospered from hating ideas loves causes instead. A little shade, a little firewood. I know a stand of oak on which my father's earthly joy depends. We're slow to cut our losses. An Arbor by Linda Gregerson, from a collection called The Woman Who Died in Her Sleep from 1996. Life doesn't make sense. There's beauty and joy and tragedy and pain that feels like it will never stop. Sometimes I think that we can't make changes about these guns because we've barely recovered from the pain we're in, and another thing happens and we just never get our feet under us. I don't know. I also think that the people who want guns and don't want to pay attention to terrorism in our own country, they believe in the slow, steady pressure on our legislatures and politics, and they try to make those of us who want to make progress become cynical and give up. I refuse. This is Facebook Love. I'll see you again.